Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Brian.
And I'm Benedikt. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on with consulting. Today is February 25th, and I'm looking forward to a few days off in Munich.
This is episode number 30, and I'm feeling uncertain.
Why are you feeling uncertain?
I was going to say, although I'm uncertain that uncertain is the right word. We're like typing out our notes just before we started recording. I was like, what am I feeling? I'm not sure. I guess, it's not, it's completely not the right word. Is so much as like, well, okay, where is this going to go? What's going to happen at this point? Because, after last week, first of all, it was really nice. A good number of people reached out to me over email or over Slack. Had a couple of lengthy conversations with some people on Slack from the Mega Maker group.
Nice.
And we've definitely we've got a small but invested, seems like, following of people following this thing.
What did people say? Overall, what was the general sentiment? I guess
the general sentiment was, I'm not trying to tell you what to do here. I just want to just say, if you decide to stick with it, here's some encouragement and a couple of things of totally been there. That's that I can relate to what you're going through. I feel like I'm going through it right now. It is really helpful for you to just be sharing and talking through it. I had mentioned, I'm just not sure if this is valuable to anybody. Handful of people were like, it is so valuable just to talk about it and share where you're at. And I had another conversation with a guy on in the Mega Maker group we were talking through the dip versus dead end, model or whatever, the image that Seth Godin uses in his book, The Dip. I remember reading that 10 years ago when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do career-wise at another job that I was feeling like, man, I just keep running into brick walls here. Do I just need to push through, or do I need to quit this thing and go on? So I want to go back and find that book again. But anyway, he was helping me think through, is this a dip or is it a dead end? And it has components of both. I mean, it was a 10-minute conversation on Slack, and so it's not something you're gonna get to the total end of. But it was really helpful. It just a lot of people just helping me think through it and process this and everything. So it was really cool. Nice. It was really nice.
So what's the current state of things then?
Current state of things is that I am strongly leaning towards finding a full-time job. And Justin Jackson, who people will know, just sent me a pretty quick message that was basically just thoughts on your last episode. Margin is extremely, extremely important. And a full-time job can be a great place to launch a business from. And maybe that's what I should have said. I'm not feeling uncertain. I'm feeling out of margin. And, and so that little bit of feedback from him, a couple other conversations was like, I could keep doing this. Trying to make self-employment and bootstrapping a SaaS work. I could. It will continue to be pretty difficult. We will dip into some savings, which are there, but I don't feel like I've got the energy, the margin for energy, and the margin for time. More importantly, so that's I'm leaning towards, or I'm not leaning. I'm not leaning towards a full-time job. I am starting to look at full-time jobs. So. Had lunch with a friend who's got a pretty senior position at GitLab on Friday. Talked to him about some product roles that they have there. Having lunch tomorrow with another friend who's with a startup here. This isn't about a full-time role, but it is like an extended contract, position potentially. Like neither of us, I don't think they know that it's even officially gonna something that they're looking for. It's just this is another conversation. Put an email out to SureSwift Capital for a role there that looked pretty interesting. It's not full-time though. But so that's kind of where the process is at right now. Going to start giving a fair amount of time, or going to give a fair amount of time this week to looking around and seeing what's a good fit.
Sounds cool. So sounds like the decision was made.
Yeah. Yes. And even now, right now, feels like the most definitive way of saying it out loud. Yep, the decision is made. I am definitely gonna put in applications. Something like fully remote, product role, and we'll see what develops. But I mean, in the meantime, got to continue to wrap up a couple of pieces of client work and do some things like that. But want to give a fair amount of my week to getting this sorted out.
Mm-hmm. How quickly can you transition between your current client work to a full-time job? Like, is it basically monthly contracts with your clients, or how does it work?
I mean, the one that's the major one that's active, they buy chunks of hours, which I would just need to work those down for them, which would be a matter of weeks. And so the one that the very open conversation I'll need to have with my buddy tomorrow, about this potential like longer term contract work, to say, totally open to this. Expect that the job search will take, a few months, but, want to go into this knowing that, this may need to end, pretty abruptly. How can we structure that sort of thing? But it shouldn't, as of right now, it won't be a problem. There's nothing there that has me worried or tangled up.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Anything
else that's new with you this week?
Just I think the other thing that was really helpful and kind of illuminating to me how frustrating like the nature of my work has been recently is did some pro bono work for my friend Richard, who's like presenting at a big conference this week. And so he asked me for some help on his app and on his landing page. And it just for those couple of days, like it just felt so good to have a very clear objective and like, yes, the conference is on Wednesday. We got to get this and da 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 da. And just it just felt like, not thinking about 30 different things at once, just focusing on the one thing. Yeah, it was really great. The other thing I haven't shared it yet because I'm still tweaking it, but wrote an article about 3 misconceptions of remote work that I'll add to Project Headlamp's website. Working on this presentation related to my Joel test article that I'll start to share around and pitch as an attendee talk for FemtoConf, and that's it for me, man.
Yeah. The deadline for the attendee talks is tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
so
it is. Yep, it is.
You gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, no, it's ready. I mean, the only thing I need to do is like they're asking for a little 60-second pitch, which is really short. It's really tough to pack in. To pack in a good summary in 60 seconds fit. So I need to record that. I've basically got it written. I just need to record it with good audio and lighting and get it sent in. So
okay.
I'll probably do that immediately after we finish this call.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Gives you time to re-record it like 3 or 4 times.
Well, this is why it's pretty much ready to go. Is I recorded it 4 or 5 times on Friday at my co-working space, and I was never happy with the audio because my mic and stuff were here at home. So
makes sense.
So it'll come together pretty quick.
Nice.
How about you? How's How's everything going?
Yeah. So last week we had the question of, is FemtoConf sold out yet? As the episode title, and it wasn't when the episode was published. But by now it's sold out. Like, I think we sold the last ticket on Sunday. So yeah, now it's sold out, but Congrats. It took a little bit longer than previously anticipated.
Wow.
But then again, like
by a couple
last year it was a lot quicker, but then a couple people were like, yeah, I bought a ticket, but I don't even know if I can come, and then had to resell them again. So
okay,
I hope this time everyone who's coming or who bought a ticket is actually committed
this is it.
To showing up, and yeah, that will be nice.
Cool.
So
you mentioned last week that there were a couple speakers that you weren't able to publicly announce.
I think I mentioned 4 speakers, and that's all that I can announce at this time and day.
At this point in time. Okay, all good.
Yeah. So once I know more, I will definitely let everyone know who the remaining 2 speakers are.
Cool.
But like, to be honest, like after that push towards getting the tickets out and stuff like that, and the speakers signed more or less, I didn't do anything else on FemtoConf related stuff since then, because like I felt like should be doing a couple of other things. So I've been, again, ongoing story, working on the in-app messaging, but it's like deadlines are a good thing. Like just knowing that I want to have this done by next Tuesday makes a lot of decisions easier. Like and a lot of the stuff, like everything works, but I'm taking shortcuts here and there by now, which is probably a good thing.
Yep.
But I also kind of hate it.
But it's it's a balance.
It's always tough to find the right balance between finding the best solution and getting it out there. And it's something I've been struggling with recently.
Yeah. That is. I mean, there's like the tiny little principle is make it work right, make it work right fast, in that order. And man, and like there's, I don't know, it just seems like there's the idea in your head as a developer, like this is the code base, this is the one, it will be pristine, and everything will be like perfectly clean. And man,
so in the end, it never works out.
Well, I mean, if customers don't necessarily care that much what your code looks like, but you're saying for yourself, you're trying to think about Benedikt 6 months from now, who's going to be working on this code base. So
yeah.
Are you able to give yourself time? I mean, I'm assuming the answer is not really, but like the idea of you're worried about taking shortcuts, but you want to get things done. Do you get much time to go back and redo a few of the things that you took a shortcut on to clean up, or?
I usually take the time to go back and try to improve things, but like at some point, I just have to stop and ship something.
Yeah. Right.
And like this deadline, that it's an artificial deadline for sure, but it helps so much. It's like just at some point, just stop thinking about it and implement the one way that you have figured out at this very moment, and just try to do it in the cleanest way possible without trying to find a better solution than what you already have right now.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. Like I already have a list of ideas in my head on how to basically rebuild everything in-app messaging related. And I feel like now is not a good time to go back and just throw everything out the window again and start implementing the new way. But I mean, maybe in the future, like with the next iteration of this feature, maybe we can include some improvements there.
That's so funny though. That's the thing, isn't it? Like now that you've built it, you know how you would build it.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. But at this point, I really want this. Like, I don't want to work on this anymore. I want it out, out of my head, out of my hands.
Yeah,
just ship it and be done with it, because there's so many other things in the app that need improvements.
Yeah,
I had a call with one of our customers yesterday, and he had he basically this was a great opportunity, because he ran into some problems recently, and I could read between the lines in his emails that he was pretty fed up with everything and a little bit frustrated. But instead of canceling, he was like, "Hey, can we jump on a call and just talk this through?" And I was very grateful about that. And then he basically shared a screen and walked me to some of the problems. And I was like, now that I see you using it and trying to use it, it's painful even watching you trying to figure this out. And there's so many things that we need to improve and make better, or just small things that would have a big effect on the usability. But I in the last couple of weeks and even months, I purposefully didn't think about these things and tried not to work on them, because I wanted this one big feature shipped and ready. So I'm very much looking forward to shipping it and then focusing on the other things that desperately need improvements.
Totally. Because probably, I mean, the impact of taking in-app messaging, which, first of all, congrats, it's going to be awesome when you get it out. The impact of taking it as it is and making a few improvements versus the impact of hopping over to one of those other things and completely like the percentage of upgrade, it sounds like, that you think that you could give other areas within the app, it would be greater than sticking into making additional refinements and tweaks of in-app messaging. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In-app messaging is good enough at this point in time. Yeah. And the other parts they are also kind of good enough, but they could be improved and should be improved, because it's not this. It's not just this one customer who's having problems with this, but multiple. Mm-hmm. So
have you heard of the RICE product model, or RICE scoring method, or whatever?
No, I haven't.
So RICE, RICE, reach, RICE, reach, impact, confidence, and effort. And so,
I have heard about that. Okay. Just not the acronym.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, it can be a helpful thing to just. I mean, if you're at an enterprise, I'm sure that they get into quantitatively measuring each and every single one of those things down to a decimal point. But at the point that you and Jane are at right now, it's pretty easy to be okay, how many people is this going to impact? How great is the impact? How certain are we that we can deliver that? And how long will it take? Okay, boom, let's go knock that out.
Yeah. But we did a little bit of that in the past. Yeah. But so much of it is just gut feel.
Totally,
you kind of have a good suspicion about what you should be doing and what the problems are.
Yeah. No, for sure. Hey, you kind of glossed over it, and I might have missed this, but did you just say next Tuesday? Is that an official launch?
That's my internal. That was the original launch date.
Yes,
was March 3rd.
All right, I was wondering if you had y'all gone back and flipped that switch on, but no. Okay.
Yeah, I decided to keep that deadline just for me personally, for getting the code to shippable state, and just pretending that we'd ship it on next Tuesday. And because the main thing that's holding off the launch is the marketing material and documentation and all the stuff around that. Cool. But I wanted to get it finished basically by next Tuesday. So
you will ship the code and then begin to spend your coding time on other things next Tuesday deadline.
That's at least the plan. I have a suspicion that I will go back to in-app messaging here and there and just tweak a little bit of a few things as customers start using it, because we're probably going to announce it to the existing customers and invite them to a closed beta round and get some feedback. So I'm pretty sure we'll have to go back and make some adjustments, but I mean, that's the point of it. But I can finally start thinking about other stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What else you got going on?
Yeah, that's the main thing. I got a little bit frustrated over the weekend with like other parts of the app, and I started working, like spent the weekend trying to improve some of these parts and like small subsets, like usually start like new applications that just try to tackle this one problem and just experiment a little bit on the side. And that's making interesting progress, but yeah, it will probably take a while until I'll be able to incorporate the new learnings from that experiment project into the actual code base. Because like there's so many, like, at this point, so many things play into each other, and even the smallest change in the code base has a lot of implications by now. So
yeah,
it all takes longer than expected.
Yeah. What's your now since you mentioned that, I'm curious, like what's your approach to test coverage?
As
or like,
much as possible, as little as needed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm asking like the way that when you said each little thing has effects everywhere else. Is that uncovered because you make a change and a test fails, or like you're holding that information in your head and if I make this change to this model, I'm going to hop over here and sort that out? Like how are you balancing that, and how do you think through that at this stage in your product?
Yeah, I think it's not so much a problem of like one change breaking a lot of things like unexpectedly, but like I feel like a lot of the changes that I want to make change a little bit like of the foundations that we have, because they were made with not with the right assumptions, or we're missing a piece of knowledge that I didn't have back then.
Okay.
So it's a lot of adjusting like the main pillars of the application, and of course that needs to be done very carefully and deliberately. And then of course like every change there requires a change in the other part that uses that part and stuff like that, so it ripples through the code base. But ultimately I think all of these changes are probably good and hopefully unlock a lot of potential in other improvements. Like for example, at the moment, we don't have any idea about the data people send us. They just send it and we save it to the database, but we know nothing about the schema of that data, like what data types is a property and stuff like that. And that has implications on so many things. Like, for example, we have this UI element where you can build like filters and conditions. And of course, it doesn't make sense to compare an integer with a date, or a date with a string and stuff like that. And right now we're doing some dirty hacks to basically allow people to or actually we guess the type of the field based on the name and stuff like that, which is kind of dirty. So one of the things I want to do is have a proper schema editor that like lets you say, okay, this property is of this type and maybe it can have these values. And I'm hoping that for one, it will make the UI a little bit easier to use, because we can like do auto suggestions like, you probably want to compare this date with another date or something like that. And also it would unlock a possibility to optimize our queries to the database a lot, because right now it just like tries to match up both sides by casting them to the right type. So if, like the first part of the comparison is the date, we just enforce force the date type on the second part, and that's just slow in the database. Because like you can't use any of the database features like indices and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm getting way too much into the details, but it's stuff like that.
I doubt it. I'm sure there's a Sure, there was a segment of people just now that were like, yes, exactly. How are you doing about this? I'm sure of it.
So there's a lot of stuff like that I want to improve. And
yeah,
we need a new trigger type on the campaigns, because like right now everything is event based and people don't really get that until I explain it. Mm-hmm. And we want to have a new trigger type that just matches, like starts campaigns as soon as someone matches a condition, and not have them like perform an event or join a segment or something like that. So everything's triggered by a concrete time event in time right now, and that's just not how people think about these things and use the system as we learned over the last couple of months.
That's why you get it out there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in true form of being a bootstrap founder, from going down in the weeds to thinking about how you can be more optimized on your database queries, all the way up to executive level thinking. How's we're like late February here, so a couple of months into your decision to go full time on user list. How is that going at a high level, and what's the plan for the next several months?
Yeah, I think like it's still going well, I guess. I still enjoy the focus. I slowly realized that stuff still takes a lot of time and is still not as fast as we'd like it to be. Especially in relation to in-app messages and stuff like that. I think our initial goal was to have it shipped by end of January. So, and now we're talking about shipping it in April.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just, everything just takes way longer than expected. But it still feels good. Like I enjoy the focus and just being able to work on this one thing and not have to, FemtoConf is also there, but my focus is mostly on user list, and that's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And still the plan full time for foreseeable future?
At least for the next couple months, and then we'll see. Like, let's run down our planned savings and then decide how things are looking at that very moment, and what mode we're going to switch into.
Okay. Like traction on revenue or user growth, or slow and steady, or
I mean, at some point we have to, like, there needs to be some money for us to pay ourselves. So, there either is a good road ahead, and it looks likely that we'll be able to pay us at some point.
Yeah.
Or not, and then we'll have to figure out something else.
Figure it out from there. Yes. Yeah. Cool. All right. You said at the very top you're getting ready to you're taking vacation for a little bit.
Yeah. Vacation. At this point, I feel like I'm not even allowed to take vacation anymore. So I will be away from the office, but I will have my computer, my phone with me, just in case. And hopefully I'm not planning to work a lot, but you never know. Some support request comes in or a notification that the server is down or something like that. So I will not be fully unplugged, but we'll be going to Munich. And last year I, as a birthday gift to my dad, I gifted him a ticket actually 2 tickets to the Cirque du Soleil show that's currently residing in Munich. So totally unselfishly, we're joining to have a nice birthday present there. And
oh man,
that will be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. That's great.
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy it. So, so the plan is, I mean, you're taking your stuff with you in case an emergency comes up.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's hope one doesn't.
Yeah, let's hope there is nothing happening. And then just take I think we will be back by Friday afternoon. So it's a mini vacation.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, send me some pictures of the show over Slack if you're able.
If I'm allowed to, yeah.
If you're allowed, yeah, exactly. Right, yeah, I take that back.
Probably it's photos prohibited or something.
Surely, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I've never seen them. We saw a Cirque du Soleil type show in Vegas a number of years ago, but it wasn't Cirque themselves, but it's pretty awesome. So have you seen Cirque du Soleil before?
We went also it was 20 years ago or so with my family back then. And it was also in Munich, same location, probably the same tent. I don't know. And it was a memorable experience, and I kind of wanted us to relive that a little bit. So yeah,
that's awesome.
It was my second time.
What a great gift.
Yeah, I hope it works out.
Go, cool. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it. One tiny announcement we also have is we moved the publishing date of the podcast from Thursday to Wednesday. Unless you didn't notice, and we're recording a day earlier.
Y'all are probably gonna notice that.
So, but yeah, that's only a small change.
Yep. Otherwise, keep finding us at slowandsteadypodcast.com, slowsteadypod on Twitter.
Yep.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.